Literally today, we are going to be making a spatchcocked Greek chicken on the grill. Stick around. So today I'm going to show you how to spatchcock a chicken. I've done this with a turkey in the past on a previous video, but I'm going to show you again because it's a wonderful technique to cook a bird really well. What you're doing is you're removing the backbone from the bird, and then it lays flat, and the bird doesn't have a big cavity of air in the center of it. It's actually kind of hard to cook a bird all the way through when it still has the cavity. Right? Lots of times people will try to stuff this. Stuffing doesn't ever really come up to temperature while the bird is still good to eat. Very often what will happen is the stuffing will finally come to temperature and the bird will be overcooked. This is a great way to cook both the thigh and the breast at the same temperature, and it lays flat so one side isn't getting more heat than the other. And on a grill, the breastbone and the bones underneath protect the meat from searing and getting too brown, because that portion of the bird is not going to be eaten. So you don't have to worry about if you overcook or cook something and there's singe marks or something underneath the bird. The top part, the skin gets nice and crispy. And it cooks really, really well. It's a really great way to cook the bird. Now, I'm going to actually marinate it in some Greek dressing. So I have 2 lemons. One of them I'm just going to squeeze right into this bowl. And now, in order to catch the seeds, you can just do it over your hand. And the water flows out, seeds stay in. Works quite well. You can also, if you like, use a juicer, which is what I have here. And this will just juice this nicely, reserve all the seeds in the bottom, get all the juice in the bottom of this. Now for this second lemon, I am actually going to zest it. Now I need the zest of 1 lemon. So now, you could take a very fine grater and grate, or you could use what they call a zester, and the zester will zest the lemon, basically pull off the zest without touching the pith. But if you don't have that, you can use a regular peeler. Just try not to go too deep, right, into the pith, and then it helps if you wiggle it back and forth a little. Don't press too hard because you don't want to go too deep, right? But if you want to do it this way, this is perfectly fine. And then after you have some of these reserved, you can slice them one way and then the other way, this other way too. And this is a perfectly acceptable way to do this. Just make sure it's minced finely, right? Now I'm going to do the rest with the zester because it's just easier this way. Now once it comes off the zester, I do want to run my blade over it a little bit because I don't want big long strings of zest in there. I'd like it to be nice and finely minced. And when you smell this, you'll recognize that you're getting the lemon smell and the lemon flavor without the sourness of the lemon. And it's really enhancing the flavor of that lemon. So I'm going to get this other lemon squeezed and put in. All right, so now I'm going to mince 3 cloves of garlic and just throw it right in here. I'm also going to take some fresh oregano, and I am going to pull this oregano off the stem. And I want to get quite a bit of this, right? This is, fresh oregano is very distinct, has a very distinct flavor, and it's also very Greek, right? Lemon and oregano and garlic, those 3 flavors, they are very distinct to that region. I want to get enough of this so I have a couple of full tablespoons worth. So I'm really working to try to get quite a bit of this off of here. Oregano leaves just come right off. You got to hold the stem. Now the stem is not edible on these, so you want to get rid of the stems if possible. The tiny, tiny little stems that are in here are okay, but the big woody ones are not. And I'm just going to mince this up. I'm going to get about a half cup olive oil, half cup of regular canola oil. And I'm going to throw in some salt, some pepper, and we are going to whisk this up. So I'm going to take now this is not going to form a perfect emulsion, but I do want to whisk it. Okay, so I'm going to save about half of this. All right. And the rest I'm going to put on my chicken and cook it. First, we got to spatchcock this bird. So the way to spatchcock a chicken is you find where the backbone is, normally right around the tail. And now you can use kitchen shears, and I will show you kitchen shears in a second, but I'm going to show you how to do it with a knife. You find the backbone, then you start to cut, and now there's a bone in here that you can press through. If you can't, you can always use the heel of your knife to chop at it, but you should be able to press right through it. And all it took was a little bit of pressure. Now I'm going to cut the rest of the backbone out with these shears to show you how that is and how that works. Kitchen shears make short work of this. You can see it comes right out. Now you can save that for your stock if you want. You know, collect the bones, the backbones of your chickens while you cook them, and then you can save it for stock. It's a really great piece of meat to save for stock. Now the second part of this is we have to lay the bird flat on our cutting surface here, and we have to break the breastbone. So what I'll do is I will put my hand underneath it and I'll press down, and you see how it snapped? That's what you want. You want to try to evenly snap the bone so that it lays flat. So my chicken's nice and flat. I'm going to tuck its little wings behind it here, and now my chicken's nice and flat. I'm going to actually lay it flat in this pan, and I'm going to throw my marinade on top of it. Now this is going to marinate for about a half an hour. So now that it's covered like this, I want to flip it over, okay? So it's going to be laying, the meat portion will be laying inside of this, okay? So we're going to let it sit in here, in this pan, for about a half an hour. And then we're going to take it out and let it come to room temperature, or at least try to. We're going to let it sit for about 15 minutes before we put it on the grill. We're going to get our grill nice and hot, and then we're going to cook this up. All right, so I took it out of the fridge about 25 minutes ago. It is ready to go out on the grill. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to insert 2 probes. Rub it down a little bit. Get some of this stuff in here. I'm going to insert 2 probes. One into the breast, right about here, and then the other into the thickest part of the thigh. And then we're going to be able to know exactly the temperature of 2 sections of this bird. And this will allow us to pay attention in case one area is cooking faster than the other. So we're going to go out, put it on the grill.
Okay, so I don't have good footage of this because I don't have a camera set up that I can easily just move outside. Maybe in the future, we'll see. In any case, this bird went on my grill, which is a Komodo Joe grill, a Big Joe. This grill is a charcoal grill that has pretty good temperature control because it has large ceramic plates inside of it that allow me to keep the temperature at a pretty stable rate. This recipe is going to work on a gas grill or a charcoal grill, If you're setting either of those up, remember that you want to keep the temperature at a consistent level. So anywhere between 325 and say 400 degrees Fahrenheit is going to be fine. That should cook the bird evenly. Any hotter than that, you're running the risk of unevenly cooking the bird. Any lower than that, you're probably going to not ever caramelize the skin. You want to avoid flare-ups, and this is where grease drips onto hot charcoal or hot burners and then starts on fire. The best way to do that, of course, is to turn one burner on and move the bird over to the other side, or start the charcoal on one side and move the bird over to the other side. My grill has large ceramic plates that prevent any flare-ups from happening.
All right, 165 just came off the grill. Now I'm going to let it sit for about 10 minutes, but I want to add the dressing to it now. All right, I'm going to pour the dressing on it. Just so as it cools, it'll get a chance to soak some of that up in there. So 15 minutes, we'll carve it up. Okay, let's take our chicken off the pan. Let's divide it up. Right, Gravy? Oh, you could just smell it. What's great about this is it smells like the grill, right? It's got that really wonderful grill smell to it. And it's perfectly cooked too. You could see, I turn it to the camera, you can see it's perfectly cooked in here. Right, Gravy? It's delicious, isn't it? He agrees. So I'm going to cut this breast just so you could see how juicy that looks, right? How nice and juicy that looks. Looks amazing. So let me put this on my plate and taste some of it. I'll leave this little piece for myself. So this is cooked. It took about 35, 40 minutes on the grill. The grill was up to about 350 degrees. So between 350 and 370. I didn't get the kind of color I really wanted on this. It's a little pale in two spots on the breast at about 150 in the temperature. I flipped the bird over and then I finished the bird on its breast. There's a possibility that you could cook it a little sooner on the breast, but I wouldn't go much sooner than that because you don't want to burn the skin that's on the breast. And if you look at the back of this bird, you can see that there is some severe charring back here. And that's what's protecting the breast, is that bone that's back here. So we don't want to cook it too much on the breast side, on the skin side, because we don't want it to. We really don't want it to cook and burn that skin. So I'm going to taste the dark meat here. Oh, it's so perfect, unbelievable, absolutely perfectly cooked. And I'm eating barbecue like you should, with your hands. Oh, and this is so tender. And it's cooked perfectly, juicy. There's that hint of oregano. A little touch of garlic in there. It's really a delicious, delicious sauce that went on top of this. Now, if you want, you can cut pieces of this off, and then you can take some of that vinaigrette that's left over and pour it on top of your chicken. I want to get a piece of that skin. That lemon flavor in the skin, really delicious. And then, of course, the chicken itself is absolutely perfectly cooked. 165 on this breast. That's what I went to. And it's absolutely It's going to be the juiciest breast that you can get. Really delicious. This is an outstanding way to eat some chicken. I hope you give this a try. Spatchcocking a bird and putting it on the grill is seriously one of the best ways to cook chicken. It's no nonsense. You don't have to deal with it. It does it on its own. And the final product, you know, all you need is a barbecue grill and a probe thermometer, and you can make perfect chicken every time. Hope you give this a try. Let me know if you do in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you next time. Season liberally.